The further that your full-time career gets put behind you, it's been, what, 5 years, I think,
Yeah, then
already.
that's weird to think.
It
Yeah.
is. The further that gets put behind you, does your perspective of your career change at all, or do you view it in a different lens, as I said, kind of the further we get away from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. That is something that I've thought about some. In the moment, you're never as good as you want to be. And I came into a time and an era where Jimmy Johnson just dominated for, I think, my first 6 or 7 years in the Cup Series, he won 5 of those
Yes.
championships. And I'm like, man, nobody can beat this guy. And so in the moment, yeah, I didn't win soon enough. I didn't win often enough. I had some Hall of Fame teammates around me, and Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, I think, all Kurt Busch, all capable of winning any weekend, anywhere. And that's when Roush was kind of at their peak. And I just wasn't prepared enough to run and race 500 miles smart. I could qualify well from time to time. I could lead practice, and I could even run majority of races well. But to put the whole race together, something just didn't click in my brain for a few years to learn how to manage my speed, my emotions, my risk tolerance. I found myself, just doing silly things on the racetrack, on restarts, pit road, and that took me out of some race wins early in my career. And so by the time I kind of figured out some of that, I felt like I wasn't driving cars that were capable of winning on a consistent basis. And so, yes, in the moment, I always was disappointed that I didn't win more, that I didn't win a championship, that I didn't run a full season of trucks, or that I didn't win an Xfinity championship. Those are things, those are obvious goals. And so in the moment, you never give yourself enough credit. But I think after stepping back a few years and looking back, that I was able to, win some races in the Xfinity Series and in the Cup Series, that's a big accomplishment that, some of my racing heroes weren't able to do that. They weren't able to find victory lanes. So that makes me feel a little better. And then just being able to run, I think, 13 or 14 consecutive years. I never missed a race. And so I always found a way to, get that next ride when, I lost the ride at Roush Racing in the number 6, or when, things were a little shaky at MWR and they closed down. I really thought that was going to be a team that I spent the rest of my career with. I went there with so much optimism, and there were so many smart people there. I loved working with Michael, and then that just kind of crumbled toward the end of that 2015 season. And so, then I'm at another crossroads. Do you keep grinding it out? And I was able to do it for a few more years. And again, in the moment, you just never are satisfied, because you always want more. You're judged to the guys that are winning championships and winning races. And so, and I've told that to a few of the guys that are racing today that I think have the potential to be race winners or champions, and they just haven't gotten to that point. And I think a lot of it is timing. The driver has to mature. At the same time, he's got race cars that are capable of winning and a team that's capable of winning. If you were to put Kyle Busch in his prime at Spire Motorsports a year or two ago, he would run 30th just with the rest of them. But now, Spire, a team like Front Row, is a great example, that they've really turned that corner. And I think Todd Gilliland could win a race this year. Obviously, Michael McDowell has proven that the cars and the team's ready to win. And Michael's, I don't think he's a better driver today than he was 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, no one even thought that he would contend for a win. And I think Michael's one of the hardest working, smartest race car drivers that's on the circuit today. And now everything's just aligned for him to put some of those Front Row Motorsports cars in victory lane on multiple occasions. So, yeah, the timing, and then, so I guess back to my point, I've told some of those young drivers, like, hey, you're doing a great job. You're in the Cup Series. You've won some races in other divisions, and you are at the peak. Enjoy even some of those bad weeks. You need to enjoy it for what they are. I remember being so disappointed at running 14th or running 18th, and now looking back, it's like, man, a top 15 was a solid day, back in the mid-2000s, or that top 10 when you felt like nothing went right, but I finished 7th, and you're kind of mad when you left. I remember later in my career, I would have done anything for a top 10. So I can look back at my career with a little bit more joy and a little bit more smiles, but in the moment, I was never happy and I was never satisfied.